Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our live broadcast. So my name is Angeline Constantinu and my superwoman, Stephanie Brandolini. So today we are going to be talking about how to overcome challenges and step into your authentic strength and authority. And we are going to also talk about how the Change Book series has impacted our lives. Okay. So if you're watching this live right now on my Facebook page, please hashtag live in the comments. Let us know where you are tuning in from. And if you are watching the replay, please hashtag replay. Okay. So Stephanie, I'm super excited. Um, I feel so happy and blessed that we have collaborated because you know why? Because I see posts like from other women who don't feel that women collaborate, like they feel that there's not much support. So actually what I want to do is before we get started, what inspired you what inspired you to be in the Change Book series, and tell the audience today a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you for that lovely intro. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, whether you're live or in the replay, and happy Friday to you all. Yeah, so that's a great question. A change will do you good, right? I have been doing some promotion about it, and that song has just been in my mind a lot. So, we're changing already anyways. So I always am of the mind, why not change for the better? Because either way, you're going to be changing. And this opportunity to be in the Change Book, honestly came from God. I did not even know about it, but I was contacted by the marketing team who I've actually grown a good relationship with. And it was just one of those things where the first time I heard the message of hey, Stephanie, we've seen your work, we'd love to work with you, that kind of thing. I was like, there's something here, even from the very beginning. And I got on a phone call and had a conversation about it, and then ended up meeting Jim Lutz, who is one of our head publishers. And it was just an immediate yes, And everyone in the Change has a story to share. And my story is all about overcoming. My chapter is called From Weakness to Warrior: Rise Fearless and Claim Your Legacy.
I love that.
And, yeah, thank you. And I just am really here to share that you can overcome anything, and the thing that you are here to overcome is here for you specifically, and you're meant to overcome it in your specific way to grow stronger, and then to be a light for others who are going through something similar, or because I believe that we're all here to help one another, but that we all have our destiny tied to specific individuals that we don't even know yet. And if you don't go forth and share your story, and if it's calling to you, some people, this is not a calling to them, and that's okay. But if you have that calling of okay, I've been through this thing, and maybe it's uncomfortable to share, it's scary to share it, but that you need to. That's what I mean by a calling. And definitely answer the call.
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and go for it, because even if you'll never hear it, so you'll never know how many lives you impact just from even going on a Facebook Live, or making a post, or writing a chapter in a book, or writing your own book, or whatever it is. It's meant to be shared. And I'm a writer, a creative writer, a storyteller, a screenwriter, an author anyway. So I love to write. And but when it comes, and I love to write fiction. Fiction's kind of my main thing, but
okay.
I love writing self-development, because self-development has helped me self-develop. So how can I not give back and help others change as they are meant to as well?
Right. Exactly. It's all about giving back. And I love your story. And I love what you said. God has called us to do something. And I know for myself, and your story is very inspiring. And I would love to read your story, by the way, your chapter. So yeah. So, that is amazing, because I know that last year I was approached by the marketing team,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in June. And it just goes to show you that people are watching us.
Yeah.
People are watching, they're following us. And I pride myself on making, just making an impact and giving value. So apparently they thought that my message would resonate. And because, yes, it's all about insights into self empowerment. Self in my program, and I talked about how I claimed victory from domestic violence through self empowerment, through the courses I took, the investments that I made in myself, so I could live my happiest life ever. But in my chapter, I talk about, my mission to empower and heal women worldwide who have suffered, from domestic violence or some sort of trauma. Because guess what? It's, I, we have a voice. That's what I'm trying to say. We have a voice, and we are the voices for change.
Mm-hmm. The change, see?
And
I knew that word would come up.
So initially, it was like, okay. When I came back from Chicago, I said yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a good. Like, I was actually talking to a business partner who she's having her year of yes, and
The
just
year of yes. Yeah. Last year, it was like, I am going to do this, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because to be in in this is a movement. Okay. It's more like you were talking about. It's more than just a change, like another book, you know what I mean? Like another anthology. This is a movement. We're creating a movement worldwide.
Yeah.
And when I heard that this was going to be launched in 32 countries, I said, I need to jump on this. Yeah. I must jump on this, and the same thing for you. And so what has the book done for you?
Yeah, well,
okay.
Like I got a saying out of everything that I've been doing lately with this and other things, but God is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Right.
Because from this book, I actually ended up stepping into becoming an empowerment speaker as well. Because Jim Lutz, who is one of the publishers, the main publishers of this book, when we got on our call to talk about the book, we ended up talking about speaking as well. And, you were talking about we all have a voice, and like one of my things is unleash your voice. And I used to mainly mean that on the page. But when Jim told me, he mentioned to me, he's like, you sound like a speaker. And at first it was a voice in my head being like, yeah, right.
Actually, Jim told me the same thing too.
Yeah, well, you're a speaker for sure too. But and I noticed that, and that just because I noticed that resistance, I was like, okay, I have to walk my own walk that I talk about in my writing and in, what I coach other people on. And I could just tell that there was somewhere for me to grow in that. So along with doing the Change book, I actually finished my chapter in the Change. Then I went down to San Diego and did Jim's deep dive event. That was my first speaking event on stage. And it was like, honest to God, I let God take over, because I didn't even have a plan for what I was going to talk about or anything. I just said yes because I knew that it was the next step in this whole journey that I'm on. And so like being in the book has opened that door, and also opened up doors to collaborate with fellow co-authors and other people around the world that are interested in this book and just interested in this whole movement. Like you were saying, it's not just a book. It's like it's not just about marketing ourselves. It's about sharing the wealth of this movement in change, because like I said, we're changing anyway, so we might as well change for the better.
And I love what you said. We're always changing, because guess what? If we are not changing or growing or evolving, we are dying.
Yeah.
We are dying, like inside. I talk about inside the spirit. And for me, and I'm so happy for you that you spoke for the first time on stage. I remember when we first connected, you shared with me, and guess what? 3 months later, I was in San Diego in December. Actually, at this time, in December of last year, Jim invited me to speak at his deep dive mastermind event.
Yeah.
I mean, that was life-changing for me. I was like, oh my goodness. That was like, for me, that was the first time speaking on stage.
Yeah, same. So yeah.
And I was like so nervous at first. guess what? I'm not afraid to be vulnerable.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. But guess what? It had an impact, and I was actually invited to be a featured writer in a publication magazine out of the UK. So we just finished that, which is published quarterly. So it led to a lot of things, and I know for myself, and let me know if you agree with me. God has a plan for us.
Yeah.
And for me, it resulted in an awakening. So,
Mm.
like early this year, I had an awakening. I said, I don't know if I want to stay in New York anymore. Like all of a sudden now things started to I need a change. Like I talk about change. I moved to Florida in June, in later June. And that was the time when I really had to step into my truth and take that leap of faith, because I had actually paused my podcast for a little bit because I was reflecting. It's a new year. And I said, I want to be in a different place, spiritually. And I'm glad that I made that move because now doors are starting to open up down here in Florida for myself. But you know, as far as the change book, it does make an impact. For me, the landlord, the property manager, invited me to have a display, meaning they have a vendor event every year. So
Oh,
they invited me, and I said, sure. And I made a lot of new connections, people who came from the outside. So we may not realize that it's happening, but we know that it's happening. I mean, I know that God is working on a plan for both of us.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up God and faith and Florida, actually, because that's where I am right now.
That's where you are right now. Okay, so what brought you to Florida now?
Oh man, yeah. There's a whole story in that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's like part of being in the change too is getting connected with people that you never would have thought you would have connected with before. So I actually came to Florida for Ray Higdon's Faith Over Fear Business Summit.
Right.
And there was a lot of divine little puzzle pieces that arranged for me to come out here. And I actually ended up forming a new business partnership and ended up reconnecting with someone from my past who has been a very big light in my life right now. And it's like, I'm a writer and I couldn't have even written this story right now. And it's just like, and I'm like, literally this morning, I was on my morning run and I just honestly fell to my knees in gratitude. I was just like, the sun was beaming down on me. I'm just like, oh my God, like, thank you for bringing me here and like showing me the power of faith over fear. Like truly, like, because I used to live in fear. Like part of my story is I overcame a very severe eating disorder that was built all around fear and shame and not feeling good enough. And honestly, only God could have saved me from that. And he did. And I talk about that in the change. And, that's my like signature story, I suppose I would say. And like, God saved my life for a time such as this, and you'll never know exactly why. And then you look back and be like, oh my God, that was God. And that was why. And even all the things to come there's a lot of uncertainty, but I kind of am relishing in that, like not knowing what's going to happen because God is in control, it's like, because yeah, like, trust me guys, like if you're trying to control your life, don't, because God can do it better for you. And yeah, like just really one of the big things that came out of like the change and all the other things that have come out of that is faith. Like my chapter, I write about how faith is the strength that you need to go from weakness to warrior. Because truly, guys, it's like it's a force. That's why I say the force of faith. Like that's what it is. The force of faith will heal you. It will strengthen you. It will take you to places you could never imagine.
Right, exactly. And you hit the nail on the head. It will take you to places that you never imagined.
Yeah.
Like that uncertainty is actually good. Like there was a lot of uncertainty for me when I escaped domestic violence. Like at that time I moved from New York City to upstate New York. And, there were people and especially for women who are, in trauma or domestic violence, they feel ashamed. They feel guilty and they feel afraid to ask for support.
Yeah.
And that's something that I did. I asked for support. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
asked.
know what you mean by that. I used to feel like this is the thing with God too. I used to feel like I had to do everything myself. I had kind of a kind of broken belief around independence. I was like, oh, I'm a strong independent woman and I can do everything myself. But it's like, you don't have to carry it all yourself. You're not meant to.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and reaching out for support is actually one of the strongest things you can do.
Exactly. Exactly. And I felt ashamed, right? And that's exactly what I did. Reach out for support. And then not only that, um, just getting involved and getting myself out there because I was afraid. I mean, I was literally afraid to share my story until, 5 years ago, I took my phone, held it up. I was in my one bedroom apartment, went live, shaking, vulnerable. The live was 18 minutes long, shared my story, and 7 million views later. That's it.
Oh,
So
wow,
it
that's
just
that
goes
was
to
my lucky
show you
number
that
too. So
story, like your story, has an impact. My story has an impact. We all, sharing our stories. There is power in sharing your story.
hmm
And there and you can overcome, like you overcame your eating disorder. I overcame domestic violence and stepped into my power. And the women and men who like the women who I surround myself with, they've overcome something in life.
yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this question. How were you able to step into your authentic strength and authority? What were the tools and resources that you implemented in your life in order to reach your greatest potential?
That's a great question. And the word that's like just ringing in my head right now is love. It is truly the greatest power of all. And, God has definitely helped me with that. Like when I've written several books over this past year, and one of them was my first novel that was published. And in it, my character actually is on a bit of a faith walk. And there's a moment when she sees herself as God sees her, and that love, that unconditional love of her Heavenly Father, like that's
Right.
traveled through my life and allowed me to love myself and allowed me to love others and, just be love, like,
Be love. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, and like a love of life and just gratitude. Like that's like what happened this morning. I was just overwhelmed, and I don't even want to use the word overwhelmed. That's kind of a negative word, but it doesn't have to be when it's gratitude. Like overwhelmed with gratitude for everything that God has done for me, and just the power of, love and all the fruits of the spirit. But the greatest one of the Bible literally says is the greatest one of all is love. And when you
Mm.
can love, even when things aren't going right, like it is right because there's love there.
Right.
And
Exactly. There
I
is love. There
yeah,
is.
like a years ago version of me, like, when I was stuck in all my negativity, like would have
Mm.
sneered at that. But it's like, yeah, there's no like naivety, there's no like delusion about it. It's like truly love is the greatest power of all.
I love that. It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know for me, same thing, love. And I focused on loving myself
hmm
because when you are able to love on yourself, you're able to project that and love on others with no strings attached.
Yeah. Yeah, unconditional, right? And it's
Conditional.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so that's really really amazing. So how can people overcome their challenges? Like I know for me it was mentorship. Okay.
hmm
Um, and also because I talk about mentorship in my chapter as well.
Yeah.
Mentorship, support, being with the community, investing in yourself. Because I know with this change book series, you are investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And I know that one of my goals is to bring more authors and speakers and coaches into this platform.
Yeah.
So I know that's one of our goals, and I think more people need to be because this is a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, movement needs members.
movement needs members, right? Exactly, but change makers. Because
Yeah.
guess what? We may not. We are change makers and way makers.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's funny you say that, because I was talking to a new business partner of mine, and I was like, I'm not here to like, tell you exactly what to do, but I'm here to show you a way. And God's told me I'm a way shower. And I know there's other people out there that have that like in their repertoire of power to like show
Right.
people the way, because and it's like Jesus, the way, the truth, and the light.
Way of the truth and the light. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely investing in yourself. Like I just invest in myself now. Like I just like I one of the greatest gifts God has given me is discernment. It's like you just kind of, and especially after this faith over fear business event, one of the biggest things I took away from that was just a strengthening in my connection with God. Because I do believe that true discernment can really only come from God, because we're gonna mess it up. We're gonna overthink. We're gonna like doubt and all this stuff. But when you just it's like, is this a right choice for me, God? And I get a clear answer every time now. And it used to be a bit muddled, but it's like, what's right for you. A part of you is always known. A part of you is like drawing you to whatever it is that you're meant to do. And it's probably going to be scary, but it's going to be that good kind of fear. Like I talk about this with another team of mine, the roller coaster fear.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Fear, which like run for your life if you need to. But the roller coaster fear, that kind of fear will take you on the best ride of your life.
Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love the fact that you talk about faith over fear and discernment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. The only way that you can have discernment is through God. And I was actually on a TikTok panel discussion. This was back in February of this year, where we talked about discernment in relationships, and discernment just in general. It's getting over that fear. And the only way is to have faith.
Yeah.
Faith and believe in yourself, but faith over fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a day that goes by. Look, I mean, I'm human, and maybe there's, some mornings that I wake up and I don't know, like there's uncertainty, but then when I start to get tuned into to God and the Holy Spirit and faith, then my faith starts to come back. And
yeah. No, literally, like I'm glad, like this is something I was talking about with someone just before we got on, actually, is like, we're not up here trying to be like, we're perfect, we know everything. Like I woke up with some anxiety this morning, but I didn't know. I did my meditations, and I like got in the word of God and went for my run, and that whole gratitude moment happened. So it's not like, the fear doesn't come up, the anxiety, the things that have haunted you in your past will probably still come up. They will try to bring you back down, but every time you can overcome them, and it's not like a huge thing. It's like little small things that like lead to the big things. And like,
right, exactly.
Every time there's some kind of resistance or thing or fear or whatever, that's an opportunity to get stronger and just like face it. Because the worst thing you can do is try to run away from it, because it'll find you.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, like every moment is an opportunity to change into the higher version of yourself that will just always keep calling to you until, I don't have the answer to like the end of it, but some form of enlightenment, some form of like really, I don't know, that this is where I am a writer, because this is what I write about in my fiction and everything about where do we go and all that. But I think we're always being called to change into something greater. Not that there's anything wrong with us right now, but like I said, you're evolving anyway, so you might as well evolve into your highest self over and over again.
Exactly. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let go of that fear. Just, like I go to church on Sundays here now, push it away.
Yeah.
Just push it away.
Yeah. And what you were saying before about mentorship and community, like community in, faith is super powerful. Like being around people who, believe in God or are worshiping and everything. There's an atmosphere of faith that is so powerful. And when people, where two or more are gathered in his name, he is there. Right. So.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. Well, I'm so glad that we were, able to get together today. Yeah. And have this discussion, because you know what, we need more conversations like this.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're resonating with people out there, if you're resonating with this conversation, like feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Angeline if you're watching this on her page. And we'd love to talk to you about some of this stuff. And if you are interested in being part of this movement, we would love to have you and love to share more on how that's possible.
Exactly. Same here. Same here. So if you are watching this, watching the replay, and if this live is resonating with you, the message is resonating you, please reach out to myself or Stephanie, and we would love to have you part of the movement here, the Change book,
Yeah.
with Jim, both Jims.
Yeah, Jim squared.
Jim, lots of Jim bread. But Jim, when I met Jim in person, I can tell you this last year, I was like,
He's a
oh,
force in nature, man.
yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Jim is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Very powerful, So I'm very grateful. And not only, when I talk about mentorship, actually, speaking of the change movement, once a month, we have masterminds
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we have masterminds once a month. So that is another huge benefit of joining the change movement. So please reach out to both of us, for more information, and we'll be happy to provide you the details. Okay. And then, and so we can have this conversation because it's important. This is very, very important. So, all right, Stephanie, any closing remarks?
Yeah, I mean, just like thank you to those of you who are watching right now, whether it's live and in the replay. And like we said, go ahead and drop some comments, what resonated with you, And yeah, like I said, like if what we're talking about resonates, we're meant to connect. So feel free to reach out to me and like reach out to Angeline if you're watching this on her page. And guys, like you only really the time is now. The time is always now. There's a lot of times when I've been like, okay, that kind of resonated with me, but I'm gonna think about it. It's like, well, if you were going to think about it, what do you think about, thinking about it?
What is there to think about? Do it now.
Yeah. Because you might
That is so powerful to do it now. Now, I could have put off the speaking event last year. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not going to fly out in December. I didn't put it off. I said, I'm going to do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, because now is really all we have. And the present moment with as you're changing, that's what life is. And it's you only get now. So make your change now. And as I always like to say, may the force of faith be with you.
May the force of faith be with you. And on that note, I'm going to end the live right now. Everyone, you all have a great day. Please give Stephanie a follow on Facebook, and let's change lives. Okay? Let's change and make an impact on people's lives. So everyone, have a great day. Have a nice weekend. Drop some comments below what resonated with you, and let's get you on the path for you to step into your authentic strength and authority. Have a great day, everyone. And Stephanie, please stay in the green room for a few minutes. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.